What's up, you guys? Sorry I'm late. Let's see if I can bring on Aaron here. Real quick. Hello, hello, hello. Just waiting for Aaron to hop on here and see who will join us. I know I'm late like always, but it's kind of how it goes sometimes. My bad. Ugh. I was actually doing a reaction video. I was doing a reaction video to, if you guys know who Vitaly is, he got in trouble in the Philippines. So Aaron, hop on once you're able. Yeah, we'll see when Aaron joins us here. Then we'll start discussing some stuff. Uh, but yeah, today's theme or tonight's theme, we're gonna talk about moving abroad not being for everybody, right? Um, okay, we got 5 who hopped on here. Nice, nice. Aaron, if you're on, let me know. Hop on the link that I sent you. But yeah, tonight here, let me make sure I'm connected to my good internet. 1 second. Yeah, tonight's topic. Um, yeah, and I know I'm waiting for Aaron to get in here, but I'll kick it off. Is moving abroad is not for everybody, right? Um, I know this for firsthand, from firsthand experience. I talk to a lot of people, and I'm really able to break down those who are serious versus those who are not, versus those who, I mean, are straight clowns, right? If I'm going to be honest. And yeah, uh, I hate to break it down that way, but it's true. Um, so some people are more just vacationers, right, than anything. Um, yeah, most people are vacationers, man. Moving is a totally different thing. You have to spend months and years dedicated to something like this, right? And there could be a lot of unexpected things that can happen too, right? So if you're just being honest, but like way too overly emotional, um, or you're like a hothead or something like that, and it's not going to go well for you overseas, right? So like right before this, I did a reaction video on Vitali, right? I'll release it probably tonight or tomorrow. And Vitali fucked up in the Philippines, right, doing some clown shit, making fun of people, etc. Um, and he completely destroyed his life. He's facing 25 years in a Filipino prison. Um, then again, he's in the super minority of these people. But at the same time, there's a lot of people who do really stupid shit or look to do really stupid shit when they start moving abroad. So they start destroying their reputation, right? Uh, that's the unfortunate reality. A lot of people forget that moving abroad, you're in it for the long run, right? So, like Paraguay, for example, you have to be careful with your reputation. You don't want to destroy it off the bat, especially a country this tiny. Uh, you don't want people to dislike you, right? It's cool to not be cool with everybody. Hell, I'm not even cool with everybody. You know what I mean? Um, but it's a whole nother thing to to do dumb shit off the bat, especially if you really want to actually live there. You know what I mean? Um, and you guys got to be really careful about when it comes to laws and to the overall, how would I say it? The overall vibe and culture of the places that people are going to, right? Because um, if you don't understand a lot of this stuff, it could end up really bad for you, right? And a good policy is just like, if you think you're on the border or on the borderline with something, maybe just don't do it. You know what I mean? Um, Paraguay isn't the top destination for like straight degeneracy or anything like that. But I think in years to come, there will be more people who are coming from Brazil, etc., who might start fucking shit up, right? And I'll call them out for it, right? Okay. It looks like Aaron's going to join us any moment. It'll be better once Aaron joins because I'm kind of out of it. So I need to bounce back and forth with somebody. But even before that, once Aaron, oh Jesus Christ, once Aaron hops on, we'll talk about the mindset that you need before you even leave, right? To come here, or anywhere in the world, right? You got to be highly adaptable, right? Um, Language, culture, you have to embrace change like a motherfucker. And so, yeah. Okay, we'll make this more interesting once Aaron hops on. But damn, yeah, everybody just filed out. That's okay. But yeah, I'm gonna start when I start going live. I'm gonna start inviting people on because I know that you guys get sick of me just rambling on. uh, but anyways, so yeah, man, you got to be highly dedicated to something like this, and like I brought up many times, you're gonna have to sacrifice a lot, and you're gonna have to accept that you might not see people for a very long time. Also, like in my case, like I won't even step foot back in the U.S. until next year, most likely. Um, I'll meet my family in like Panama or something like that in the meantime. But when you move this far away, you're not just hopping planes back to the States all the time. That's for people who live in like Mexico and shit and the Caribbean, right? Even Colombia for that matter. But you're not hopping planes from fucking Paraguay all the way to fucking Wisconsin. That's not a thing that I just like want to do. It's highly stressful and very costly, right? So you got to accept, man, that you're not going to see family, friends for a long time. And some people can't, and some people just fucking can't accept that, right? They just, or it's really hard for them to like separate from my friend Sally or my friend Billy or my friend this or that. And they're just like they're too comfortable. Okay, here we go. Here comes Aaron, you guys. We'll make this more interesting. Damn, Miami Vice, bro.
It was.
Give me some of that swag, bro. What you doing, bro? I think you're frozen, bro. Yeah, you might have to connect to Wi-Fi or something. Leonardo Pereira, saludos desde Camboya. Camboja? I don't know where that is. Saludos a tu perro Augusto. Yeah, Aaron, when you have 3,000. Okay, we're getting political here, you guys. Yeah, yeah, you're kind of lagging, Aaron. Are you on Wi-Fi or? Yeah, I can hear you now. You're lagging a
Oh,
little
okay.
bit, but I can hear you though. Yeah,
No,
yeah, for sure. Um,
I
yeah,
was gonna join in from home, but I decided to just be outside instead. So kind of the weather's kind of helping, you know. So
yeah. That looks like a good spot.
yeah,
Except that spot would be better here in Paraguay though.
I know, man. I know. You're in Paraguay.
Yeah.
You're making me remember.
No, even the gas stations and stuff, that had like those nice outdoor seatings.
Yeah. Oh, and
Yeah,
then with the sunsets too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, bro. But yeah, bro. So before we hop into all this shit, and maybe we'll get some people jumping on again. But yeah,
Yeah.
what's up with you before we jump into the topic? Um,
Um. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure you're actually the first one to know, right? But
well, only whatever you want to share.
yeah. I'll probably save that for a separate discussion or anything. But I've been good so far. Um, it's been it's gonna be close to what, three weeks since I've been back home from Paraguay. And well, here in Southern California, it's starting to get dark, or not dark, sorry, starting to get hot, starting to get warm. Which is funny because I know back in Paraguay, when my dad and I were out there, it was the month of March, so it's kind of like the shoulder season of when it started to cool down. But now that we're back here, it's starting to get hot now.
Yeah,
So, but I mean, so far, everything's been pretty good. If you guys want to see the latest conversation that me and Ryan had on his channel, you guys can check it out. I just finished my training with basic training for my merchant marine, uh, my merchant marine journey that I have going on. As far as updates, I mean, I have one more course to do, and I'm planning in these next couple of weeks to, apply to some companies. Go to. I was telling Ryan, in actuality, there's a networking event or a job fair that I'm gonna be going to for that as well. See if I can get myself on a ship pretty soon. In a couple months. Um, and see how that goes. And then considering right now with everything going on, I know Ryan probably knows, but with all this tariff stuff and just cost of living issues, it's kind of weird. It's really weird coming back. Um, it's kind of weird coming back. Not even like less than a month, and you know you're already seeing things take place on the ground here.
yeah,
Back in the states, with prices. I even one thing I noticed here when I got back here, back in my hometown, is I noticed that the 3 weeks I was gone, I think gas went up like 30 cents, which doesn't seem like a lot, but 30 cents is 30 cents, and
Yeah,
Yeah, gas can fluctuate here and there, but especially gas here out in California, you're paying easily. You're paying like $5 a gallon. So even just getting around and stuff like that, it's gonna cost you a lot. I mean, $5 a gallon. I was getting Ubers for like less than that out in Paraguay, right? So yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, as far as my updates and Ryan, knows because me and him are always in contact. I've been good. Um, I know there's just gonna be some changes ahead as far as with my lifestyle and with career and everything. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Well, we're moving ahead, man, and I know that I hear from everybody because I haven't been on the ground in 9 months in America. So I haven't seen the prices shift or anything. Here, it's hard. Anything's hardly changed at all. Prices wise in Paraguay. In fact, some things got cheaper here, believe it or not. And the only time that I've seen any changes in prices was with Uber during the holiday season here. It went up a
yeah,
little bit, but then it came right back down. So now they're back down to dollar Ubers, going like I would say 3 to 5 miles, $1.50 max, um,
yeah,
USD. Um, so yeah, reasonable, and that's why transportation is extremely cheap here. I had somebody just again ask me or and say that want to rent a car here, and I don't advise that for people.
yeah,
Um, it's costly. It can lead to a lot of headaches. Yes, it's a nice freedom for sure, especially when you're
yeah.
dating. Nice to pick up girls and shit. But at the same time, like it's a very big headache. Our roads suck. All that shit sucks. Um, the motorbikes are everywhere. It's much more likely you could end up in a crash here and get fucking messy situation, even if you're only here for a week. And foreigners don't understand the back road situation about like who goes first. There's not fucking stop signs and stoplights. I know I'm getting a little bit off the topic, but I only bring that up because it's a big thing. It's a big financial decision to even rent a car here. Um,
Yeah,
and I personally would just use that money for experiences myself. It's not cheap to rent a car, especially
yeah,
if you're here and you really want to save money. So I know we're talking about economics and stuff and the differences between Paraguay and the USA, but it's a huge thing, right? It's just the number one thing for people.
yeah,
Um, and having an understanding and and knowledge about that too. Like, okay, I'm going to Paraguay and I'm gonna have to pay 400, 500 bucks for an apartment instead of
yeah.
1,500 or 2,000 in the States. Okay, well, that gives me 3 times the amount of money back. You know what I mean? So,
And that money that you have saved aside, I mean, you can save it. If you have debt, you can pay off debt. If you want to have that money aside for, I don't know, for whatever other ventures you pursue, right? If you want to invest, save that money to invest. Because right now, just there was a stat that I heard on I usually like to listen to videos on finance, especially right now in the States, considering the cost of living. But
yeah,
there was an article I think that they published that out in California, which is where I'm at, but I'm more in the interior, is like in the cities of like San Diego or Riverside or even Los Angeles, people are paying about out of their salary that they're getting paid for, they're having to pay close to like 75% of what they make just in rent alone, just in housing or mortgage, whatever, which is it's it's just mind boggling how bad it is right now for especially not just in all of America, but in some parts of the states, like in California, maybe on the East Coast, like in New York and stuff. People are paying easily like 2/3, if not 3/4 of their salary or whatever they make in a month towards housing. And a
Yeah.
lot of times they're not even owning something, because a house right now, and average price of a home right now in San Diego costs around $950,000, right? I don't live in San Diego. I've disclosed that to Ryan and to you guys. I'm more in the interior, kind of similar to where Ryan is from, right? Like same kind of housing prices, whatnot. I was just actually I told you, or I shared with Ryan, there was a house that I saw here, like the next neighborhood where I live. This house is maybe like 10 years, probably close to 10 years old. It's nothing too old or too new. Two-story house. They were asking for $525,000. Um,
Yeah.
it's just, and I'm pretty sure it was half the cost when it was first built. We're talking 5, 10 years ago. But
Yeah.
yeah, even if you're making six figures, I mean, what's you know, you're still in an environment you're still in an environment that persuades you to want to spend money and consume. Whereas
Yeah.
sometimes in a lot of these other countries, there is consumerism, but nothing like in the US in that regard. So
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree with you. And yeah, and I mean, yeah, number one is getting your priorities straight, realizing that if you are to make it to work in Paraguay now or years from now, but at least getting set up with residency, in many ways you hit the lottery. You know,
yeah,
uh, it's a lot of uncomfortable steps, a lot of unsexy stuff you have to do, a lot of
very
uh,
much.
saying no to people and things and events and fucking all that shit for a good long time, keeping your head down,
Yeah,
saving money for things like residency and the fucking expensive plane tickets and all that. But
yeah.
once you're here, life is good. Life is cost efficient, and I just did a before you hopped on. I was like, I did a reaction video on if you know who Vitali is. He got 20,
Oh,
he's facing up 25 years in the Philippines, right?
yeah. I was gonna share that to you too, but
Yeah,
that is like the worst example of
yeah,
the dumb foreigner, the dumb gringo. Like I'm really huge on that as far as going to new places. Is like you have to know the laws, or to some extent the general laws, and be respectful and don't act like a fool.
well, yeah, that's the thing too. It's like I think that in his case, if you guys don't know who we're talking about, he has 10 million subscribers. He's a total prankster and just harasses people on the street and does all kinds of dumb shit, right? And now he had a racked up charges. He's facing 25 years of his best years um, of his life, and he's going to rot in a Filipino prison. I personally don't think that he's going to make it even 24 weeks, let alone 24 years.
Yeah.
The whole trial is said the Secretary of the Interior, badass looking dude,
Mm.
said that the trial alone is gonna play out over 2 to 3 years. So, truthfully, that could end up being 28 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know we're jumping to like the most extreme morons, like the Johnny Somalis, if you guys know who that is. He also is sitting in a South Korean prison for harassing their people, disrespecting them in like the worst ways possible too. Um, and there's lesser examples of that as well. The people who come to Paraguay, like there's one fucking Korean American, um, piece of shit ass dude. He don't ever need to come back here. But anyways, he was looking for drama, right? So what he did is he wanted to pick a country that he could say, "Oh, it just sucks and it's boring and the food is terrible and the people are they're not nice and all this." And so like that's exactly what he did for views and clout. And the very next day, he was getting called out by everybody. Now that's not illegal what he did, but you're not setting yourself up nicely. Even hell, even if it's not Paraguay, I'm gonna remember that stupid fuck. And if he comes to the Philippines or something, for example, I'm gonna know what he did in Paraguay. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you just want your drama and then to insult our people in our country and paint and paint a picture of what it's not and pretend like it is something else. Like, nah, you know. So yeah, man, and like, but before you hopped on too, I was just saying that. But here, let me real quickly get to the comments. Chestnutters is there a Japanese Asian community in Paraguay? Yes, there is. I
Chestnutters. Or so sorry to interrupt, Ryan,
oh, you
but
good?
speaking of that, there was I told my dad about it. There was, I think, I believe, where I was staying in one of the apartment buildings. There was I could tell he was like full Korean, and I going up the elevator, he like it was very brief, maybe like a 30, 45 second interaction I had with this gentleman. But I could tell he was Asian. He was like full blown Korean, and he was already talking to me in Spanish, but with the Paraguayan accent. And I was like, "Oh yeah, like I'm staying here, this and that. Oh okay. Oh like this is a nice place, blah blah blah." But I yeah. Well, to answer that question, Chestnutters, I noticed it. There was a few moments, not just with Ryan, but my dad and I would be out, and you could tell there was Asians, Japanese, a lot of Koreans, Chinese, mostly those three groups, from what I saw,
They're probably not Chinese. They're probably Taiwanese.
or
Um,
Taiwanese. My bad.
yeah, maybe though. Maybe they're Chinese. But yeah, no, you're right. And me personally, I live in San Lorenzo, so I don't live where most of the expats live. So I don't personally see it. I don't personally see it too much. But if you go over to where Aaron stayed at, more in the downtown, new downtown, you'll see much more foreigners, much more Asians from everywhere. Honestly,
Yeah.
Europeans, Argentinians, if you can recognize their accent, Brazilians, for sure. And what's up, Zoto? How you doing, man? Hola.
Hola, hola, ¿qué tal? Solo.
That's Armin's friend. Yeah,
Oh, really? Wait, but Paraguayan or
Armenian.
oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah, man. But like backing that up, man. Like, I get hit up by a lot of people and stuff, and I'm really able to start filtering them out, like the clowns, the serious, the not serious, the people who immediately want things from me.
Yeah,
Uh, they just start off with a list of fucking demands, and like, that really tells me too. And I was mentioning too. Um, that they carry a high level of individualism. Like me. I'm the most important person in the world, and
yeah,
yet it might not be to the level of Italy, like fucking up that bad. But the thing is like if you come at me with like, oh hey Ryan, here's a list of things that I want you to do for me, and like I honestly I don't have an issue like helping you guys out, but
yeah,
like just introduce yourselves better. Let me know a little bit about you. And especially when you come at things like, what can I do for work, or where should I live, or how do I get residency? It's like, well, hold on, man. I need so much more context than that. Like even the
yeah,
residency thing, it's like, what country are you from? Like, let's start out with that.
yeah,
um, what's your life situation? Are you alone? Are you married? Are you coming? What anything? You know what I mean? And so like I can tell a serious person from a not serious person. Um, and honestly too, like I want the clowns to stay out of Paraguay, right? Like I'm not for everybody. My channel's not for everybody. I get hit up like you were just saying, like there's some guys who make six figures who I can tell off the bat they're millionaires or they're very close to millionaires, right? But they got an amazing mindset. They come when we do consultations, they come at me with all the right questions,
yeah,
right? And they know how to explain like, okay, well this, then I'll ask a question back to if I need any more clarification on context about their lives, right? But if you come at me like, hey, bro, I don't know, but like, are you even American or some crazy shit like that?
yeah.
I'm like,
It,
bro,
it just doesn't look good too, or it's not. It's like anything, right? It's like when I first met Ryan, or when I reached out to him, and he can vouch for this too. I mean, I took the time, I sat down and I wrote an email to him, and I pretty much gave him an introduction of who I was, what my current situation was at the time, and what was my reason for reaching out to him in regards to Paraguay, right? But it's very true what Ryan says. A lot of times the and not singling out just Americans, but maybe just in Western in general, Western people can be like, oh, like what can I get out of this person, right? Or like I just want to know like because the honest truth, and Ryan knows this, the honest truth is there is no one size fits all for everybody when it comes to reaching out for these kinds of things, for residency, for travel advice, or anything. Like everybody's different. Everybody has different um, priorities. More importantly, so
Mhm. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, man. And the thing is, like some of these people, they want hour-long conversations. They want bookload of fucking information off the bat. I'm like, look,
yeah,
let's hop on a call. Honestly, I charge the most fair prices out of any of these motherfuckers. And guess what? And I'll say this proudly too. Everybody who does a consultation with me, they walk away with 5, 6 to 10 times the info than they do with some of these other guys. Because some of these other guys don't know what the fuck they're talking about, or they'll give them terrible advice, like saying that a car is necessary here. I'm like, no, it's not. What are you talking about, bro? I mean,
no,
if you're nice, sure. Is it necessary? No. Are you on a budget? Then it's very not necessary. That's just an example, but yeah, man, I don't know. Like, I mean, me and Aaron have talked about this off camera, and it was the last 10 minutes of our last discussion that we had, and we were talking about well, a few things, but the whole like those who talk versus those who do, right? I don't know if you want to elaborate on that, Aaron, but it's like it kind of goes into the last thing that we were talking about, but I would like to see your roadmap of what you realistically think that you can do,
yeah,
and what are you doing to pursue that? And
yeah,
I don't care. I won't judge you. I don't give a fuck. I don't. You could make minimum wage or less. You could get paid under the fucking tail. I don't give a fuck. I won't judge you about that. Other motherfuckers will. Nomad
yeah,
Elite. Nomad Elite doesn't like anybody who doesn't make less than $500,000 and can't go to his fucking millionaire club. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Okay, I'm being a little harsh on that shit, but
I think a little too much. No, I'm just kidding.
no, but
Uh,
seriously though, there's some guys like, oh my god, you got a disorderly conduct and you're not rich, then fuck you. I'm like, Brett,
yeah,
like, hey, all the normal people who made some mistakes in life, shit, come to me, bro. Like, I ain't gonna judge you. Who the fuck am I, bro? you
no
know?
one, no one, no one's perfect. Ryan preaches that. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm sometimes, you know, I may be used as a good or positive example, but I've had my personal trials and errors too. I mean, I've had to work on myself many times, right? And that's with in all sectors too. You know, my personality or my habits and those kinds of things. But the more important thing is that people seek growth in whatever it is that they do, no matter what. That's how I see my life day in and out. Like, what am I doing to get to my next goal? Like, what am I improving? Whether it's my communication skills, on you know, what's the next goal financially? What's the next goal in the next year? With residency, with taxes, thinking about the future, right? In regards to family and those kinds of things. I mean, and Ryan, you can vouch for this. Like, I'm not a six-figure earner. I'm far from it. I'm like very far from it. So, you know, the important thing is, like Ryan was saying, is that there has to be a lot of certain uh people or individuals, right, that expect you to have all your ducks in a row. Which you should, right? But kind of going back to what I was saying, there's not a one size fits all. Everybody's situation is different. Some people are not making as much money. Some people are, you know, transitioning careers. Some people are transitioning from a relationship or marriage. And people learn. People have different situations.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
Yeah, and I don't want to come off as like a hypocritical. Like,
yeah,
okay, so I just want to clarify one thing that because I just read I definitely got a bit of that vibe from Nomad Elite and still hate the guy. uh, yeah, but yeah, just touching on that for a second. Like, look, like when I talked about it at the beginning, like I'm not judging you when you guys like hit me up for certain stuff. All I'm saying is that like just uh just be a little bit more personable. That's it.
yes,
But like I don't
yeah,
judge you for your past. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna look on the fucking internet about your whole goddamn history and shit, and then make a fucking YouTube video out of it. Right? Like I'll call it both sides out on some crazy
right,
shit.
right.
It's
Ryan's not gonna do a background check. Ryan's not gonna do a credit score. You guys need to
like,
chill out.
yeah.
Literally,
No, man, that goes like honestly too though. It goes to the empathy, right? Like fuck, man. Like I don't like to deal with people who don't have an ounce of empathy in them.
yeah.
They only run with certain circles, or they only run with people who can do things for them, or
Or
they.
or or another thing too is when people are all business. Like it's really good to be like business minded, right? To some degree, or to be kind of business oriented in whatever you do, like certain ventures, like the one I did for the residency. But it's true. Like sometimes I think a lot of those individuals they have to be a lot. I think what Ryan tries to emulate or try to communicate is there needs to be more. There has to be more of that personality trait of being personable. Because at the end of the day, I mean, it's people, right? It's people communicating with others, and you know, kind of like Ryan says, like, hey, let's have a beer, let's sit down, let's like chop it up, Um, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's a cultural element to that too. Like immediately Americans start or Westerners and
yeah,
start like the business just like immediately talking about business. Monday morning, jump straight in. But in Latin America and in Paraguay, like a lot of people want to catch up. Well, how are you doing as a human being? How was your
yeah.
weekend? Like,
How's your family?
how's your family? Yeah,
How are your kids?
yeah. Those are the conversations that are gonna to happen. But if you're all like insanely worried about like clocks and money and timing and all and your investment and you forget to be personable, people will not work with you down here. I guarantee you
Yeah,
that. And in fact, I was talking to a Westerner, and he was saying that a certain guy was trying to get quotes for land, I think. And then a lot of Paraguayans were like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, we can look into that for you." And then he didn't get any calls back because he didn't have that aspect about like being personable. So
yeah,
it can hurt you down here if you bring that mentality of like business first, everything else second.
yeah,
A lot people build what people do is they build trust, right?
yeah,
And I understand both worlds, right? So I understand when people immediately. That's actually another thing that I don't care for when people immediately start giving me advice. Like they said, "Oh, well, I mean, Ryan's not a goddamn millionaire, so he must need my advice, right?"
yeah.
I'm like, I'm like, bro, like go fuck yourself. Like I'll hear you out for sure, especially if you come
Yeah,
at me with respect and you have good ideas for sure. I mean,
yeah,
me and Aaron and fucking Simon talk about ideas we have for this and that all the fucking time.
yeah,
But if you come at me like, "Hey Ryan, this is the opportunity you really need to do it. You need to work with these goddamn people," I'm like, I don't even like those
yeah, yeah.
people.
That's the American trait for sure.
Yeah, and again, like I'm not trying to be all negative about it. Like I actually do appreciate it, and people like are really emotionally invested in like my channel and my life and stuff. So they do want, a lot of people do want to see me well, but they forget that like they're just like talking at me and not like with me, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of people will get that, and believe me, it comes at me from all fucking angles, like these days.
Yeah.
And you know, and yeah, sometimes it's legit stuff, and I do agree with a lot of these people for sure. But again, they're losing the personal aspect about like, okay, well, like let's for me to even listen to you about this shit, I have to know a little bit about you too. You know what I mean? And some of these guys are super successful, right? But they're
Yeah.
incredibly money focused, right? Everything is fucking money, right? And that's why you see guys like never leave their towers. They just like everything is operated within like a 3 block radius, and that's all of Paraguay is to them.
Yeah.
Which is fine, whatever, you know, do what the fuck you do. But then you're not an expert on the other stuff. You're not an expert on the culture. You're not an expert at being on the ground level with people.
Yeah.
Um, you know, every single time I have an interaction, I talk with locals. Every fucking time. Even less yesterday, I call them off-camera interviews, right? So then, like, when I ask the general consensus of like what Paraguayan guys, for example, think about Paraguayan women, like I won't film that because if I start filming people, they're going to get nervous and not talk about it anymore with me. But I can come and relay that info to you guys later, you
Yeah.
know. So, you know, that's just one example, right? But yeah, but you know, it kind of makes me sad because some of these guys have been here for fucking years, and like, you know, I can, well, I don't know for sure, but it seems like they're not picking up the culture, they're not learning the language well.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and I'm like, dude, you had like fucking 3 fucking 4 years here. What are you doing? like, like hit the ground running, and like, you know, it's life isn't all just fucking money, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you don't mind me, Ryan, I've already we've shared this certain individual. I don't know
yeah,
if I should say who, but he's based out of Brazil,
fucking,
and yeah,
just I don't care. You
yeah.
can say
Well,
it.
yeah. Well, basically, kind of an example of that is like somebody based out of Brazil, specifically in Rio. Very same thing, very business oriented, very money driven, finance minded, crypto and stocks and trading and all business, right? Even in regards to relationships, but doesn't really connect with the locals, doesn't really speak the language even after being there for a year. Um, is already leaving. I don't know to where, but I know they're leaving the country for some time. But like an example of that, like somebody that's not connected to um where they're residing, let alone living. You're just pretty much an outsider inside of a country, in other words. And a lot of times it's not gonna serve you for the long term for sure. It's just but I think really when it comes to those kinds of things with trying to understand the culture, right, is for some it takes longer than others. And for others, it takes some, shorter time to do that. But I think that's probably one of the most important pillars when looking for a country, whether you're living there all year round, 6 months out of the year, 3 months out of the year, whatever your situation is, to make an effort, right, to connect with that country, connect with its people, speak the language.
Mhm.
You get a lot of these guys that go out to like Thailand and the Philippines and you know I'll even throw Colombia, for example, and they'll be there for years, practically married, or if not in a serious relationship with a foreign woman, or they have some sort of anchor tying them to that country, whether that's a business or some other venture, and they don't speak the language or they
Mhm.
don't know like their neighbors, right? So
Well, yeah, you know the hypocritical thing about it too is some of those guys are the harshest critics on immigrants who don't assimilate in America. but then they're not
Yeah.
even the same fucking thing when they go because again, this comes to their entitlement that I don't
Yeah.
need. Fuck you mean? I'm rich, you guys. Oh my god, you guys. You
It's
know.
true.
So yeah, man. It's a bunch of bullshit, dude. And like I don't know, man. I don't like it because I've always said since day fucking one, video fucking one. I've always said as long as you're making the effort, I don't care where you're at. You could
Yeah.
be 2 words in Spanish, but as
Yeah.
long as you're making the effort, right? Because like I don't want to see these like what the Germans do here historically is they just create their own little fucking communities in Paraguay for generations. They don't assimilate.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, a lot of Germans do, but a lot don't
Yeah.
because they take that isolationism from back home and just set up their little tiny bubbles in wherever the fuck they set up shop here. You
Yeah.
know? And so that's they're the biggest historical example, but other Westerners do it too. And again, I personally think it comes back to entitlement and like, I mean, these dirty immigrants, they got to assimilate back in our country, but nah, fuck, I don't need to learn no goddamn Spanish and in their
Yeah.
country, and fucking money talks. What the fuck do you mean? Why don't I need to learn Spanish? I'm
Yeah. And I get it. I get it that at the end of the day, money talks, right? With if you have all the money in the world, you can do so much with it, right? What's the use of having all that money in the world, right? When uh, you can't really move in a country or in a specific place, speaking the language, knowing the people, knowing the rules of the ground, you know, and that's what
uh,
ends up happening. And, people, they don't, like you say, they don't fully assimilate.
yeah, and it's a long process, but like there's yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about in Brazil. Um, But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just it's annoying, man. It really is. Even to me. For example, too. I guess decent enough guy, but like, yeah, decent guy, right? But he was starting to get frustrated that his fucking translation app wasn't translating correctly, and he was like, "They're misunderstanding me." I'm like, "No, the stupid app is fucking translating it wrong."
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, you can't get frustrated over this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, this is not technology's fault. It's not the other person's fault. It's on you to learn.
Yeah.
And it's fine if you don't get frustrated. If you're just like, okay, I just misunderstood. Fuck it.
Yeah.
This is what I got. This is what I got. For
Yeah.
food, drink, and whatever. This is what it is. This is what it is. But
Yeah.
when you start getting frustrated, that's a sense, again, of entitlement.
Yeah.
Because, like,
Very
well,
much so.
why
And
we
I
fuck
and I've seen and I've seen it too firsthand. I have memories of that in Mexico. I've seen it where foreigners, and I mean foreigners that are, even if they are Mexican, right, or Mexican descent or whatever, Latino or different nationality, and that frustration comes out where they don't understand what's being communicated, or they don't like that the music is too loud, they don't like that the food is too spicy. It's like,
Yeah,
like you can't always have it your way, especially
yeah,
when you're out here.
yeah,
This ain't Burger King, baby, right?
yeah.
It's in Burger
Uh,
King. So
It's so true. Like the whole like in America, the customer's always right. I'm like, fuck that. The customer's wrong. Like, get the fuck out of here. Don't bring that stupid ass shit to here. Like, hell no.
yeah.
The customer's acting the fucking fool. They can just fuck right off. Hell, but it's the
Yeah.
reputation of our company, yo guy. Yeah. Like, oh, get the fuck out of here, man. We don't need no around here. Oh my god, that'd be like me going to Thailand or some shit. I order some like fucking I don't know noodles, and they come out with a different other type of noodle. Just like I'm like, oh, I would like to speak to the manager, please. And it's like Jesus Christ, dude, just eat the other fucking noodles,
Yeah.
and then now oh, I had to order that and other noodles. There's some shit like that. It's just like,
Yeah.
bro, embrace your fuck ups a little
Yeah.
bit. It's like
Take
and
take take that as a learning curve. Take it as a learning lesson.
a learning lesson.
Don't.
I fucked up
Yeah.
so many times, dude, and like I just embrace. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I just ordered that. That's what
Yeah.
we're now. you
Yeah.
know, because there's a lot of food plates in Guarani right down here.
Mm.
So there's even like that, like for most of our homemade plates. most of them are Guarani names. So it's very possible that you're gonna fuck up and like get something different than you thought.
Yeah,
Now people will try to explain it to you, but even things like maíz, like even that we say choclo here. So it's like
choclo. That's what I learned too.
yeah, so
We say maíz or elote.
yeah,
So choclo, that was new for us.
exactly. And that's just one fucking example. So even when they try to explain it to you, oh, and then poroto is beans, is frijoles. So
Frijoles.
if you were to say, I want cornbread and beans on the side, it would not be pan de maíz con frijoles. It
No,
would be
o
like
pan de elote
yeah, pan de chocolate, something like sopa or some shit.
and
They can
poroto.
understand, and then it would be like con poroto or some shit like that. And
Mm.
so like those are just things like things that like even now, yeah, like that I'll fuck up here and there, or like oh yeah, I forgot it's that. Even we say cilantro is
Perejil. I think it's
cura,
perejil.
curatu.
Oh,
Cura.
curatu. Guarani curatu.
That's how you'll see it in the supermarkets here.
Yeah.
So yeah, um,
You want to read the comments, Ryan?
yeah. So Yokazi, so I mean, I don't think people have to assimilate as long as they respect the laws and live amongst the people peacefully.
You know
Um,
what? I will say I will. What's that saying? Um, damn, I forgot the saying. I can't remember the saying right now, but I will say, surprisingly, I agree with what he says. You don't necessarily have to assimilate, right? But I think that's very important what he says. As long as you respect the laws and live amongst the people peacefully.
I would tend to agree too. Yeah, I'm mostly calling out the hypocrites
Yeah,
and errands and stuff. Like, oh my god, it's
yeah,
or blaming the translation app or the person on the other end. It's like that's when you start crossing lines into like you're bringing your bullshit.
yeah,
But
definitely.
no, overall, I do actually agree with Soyokazi. Like, yeah, you don't have to like Soyokazi's in Japan. You don't have to become full fledged Japanese. You
Yeah,
can still fucking hang out with your boys and watch American baseball or whatever the fuck, and carry all that stuff.
yeah,
We're not saying that you need to like turn fully Japanese or fully like, oh, let me turn fully Guarani Indian and go live in the fucking selva.
yeah,
Now that I'm in Paraguay, or I don't know, some crazy shit like that.
yeah.
Um, but so I do agree to a point, right? But we're mostly calling out people who have bad behavior or
Mhm.
certain entitlement. But that's exactly what Soyokazi's saying that yeah, if you respectfully and live peacefully, there's no problem usually, right?
Yeah,
Usually no problem beyond maybe some miscommunications here and there. But again, as long as like you're not blaming the country for speaking their own language,
yeah.
and
I think, and I also to add on, right? I think assimilating a bit is just to enhance your experience.
yeah,
I think it's just that's the most important thing. It's not necessarily a requirement, but I think it just enhances your experience, whatever country it is, right? If you, I don't know, say if you go to, say if you're living in, um, the Dominican Republic, right? And if you assimilate, like all you have to do is just follow the laws and not break any laws and be respectful of people, right? You don't have to dance bachata. You don't have to be uh, playing checkers outside of the what do they call outside the bodega or to watch baseball every Sunday. You don't have to take part in that culture. But if you know, test the waters and you assimilate a bit or you kind of dip your toes in a little bit, it just enhances your experience overall. So
yeah,
that's just an
yeah,
example.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, Vulcanized part, some Japanese community north of Encarnacion and some east of Ciudad del Este. Okay, yeah, I didn't know that particular. Interesting. Yeah,
That'd be
man.
interesting to see Japanese.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, and like like going back, I guess, to the main topic of like moving abroad is not for everybody. The amount of sacrifice, yeah, I've talked about 10,000 times over, like personal with your time and your money, and honestly, you just your mindset and
Yeah,
embrace like change. Like, okay, maybe you don't get the language down even in a month or a year or whatever, but there's other things like how do you pay your bills? Is that going to stress you out? Is the banking is different here? Uh,
yeah.
Supermarket's different here. Like, just that kind of stuff. Like, you got to be strong minded for like to embrace the new parts of the country you're going to.
Yeah.
Um, and it stresses a lot of people out who don't know how to embrace that change. Um, you know,
A lot of people don't like change.
yeah,
They don't even like change if it's temporary. It doesn't even have to be permanent. If it's just temporary, they step out of their comfort zone for a month, for 2 weeks in a different environment, um, it scares them to the core. Um,
and that's
you know,
that's natural.
it's natural, very
Yeah,
much so.
I like for example, I started a new job opportunity, and man, it's fucking difficult. I'm not gonna lie. Like the
Yeah.
whole training stuff, the training is it's very very new for me, and like I have a huge learning curve, right? And it does suck. Like it's sort of related a little bit to what I've done in the past, but not really.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean that's a hard thing to get past, right? Now with time, obviously, like I'll do better and learn more and all that stuff, but it's uncomfortable and it is stressful, right? But like beyond just like jobs and stuff, like you gotta really be able to embrace a little bit of fucking change. And I was talking to my man's out in the UK about this, and I asked him, very successful person, and he's looking into Paraguay because like Europe's unstable, war is on the doorstep of Europe,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And I was like, why is it that we are really tiny minority of people, like probably 1%, um, at least in America. I don't know what the ratios would be with other countries. Why are we such a tiny amount of people that actually will move?
Yeah.
Or at least get a residency card, keep it in your back pocket until later, or at least that. And like, because like, we've talked about it, but it's retiring in America is one of my biggest nightmares. And look at how many broken families there are. That's and even retirement, whatever, is only even halfway decent when you have younger ones in your family who's still looking after you.
Very
You
much so. Very
So
much.
it's a financial nightmare. A lot of people end up in homes. A lot of people have broken families or from
Financial stressors too.
single mothers. Yeah, financial stress. They don't even have the money to retire, and they're
But
realizing.
the another thing too, Ryan, is the 401ks right now with
Mhm.
all this unstable market, stock market and all that. 401ks have been affected. I don't know anyone personally, but you've been hearing those stories for sure.
Yeah, and to me, like the American dream is like the American nightmare. When you really look at the numbers, when you realize that it takes $160,000 minimally to live in most states in the U.S. minimally.
$200,000 here out in California, according
Yeah,
to
200.
statistics.
Yeah, to live a what the fuck do they always call it? Not a decent life,
Average life,
comfortable life or whatever. Um,
affordable, they call it.
yeah, and then you read the numbers of retirement. It's like what was it sitting at now? I don't know. Last time I checked, like $1.3 million to retire comfortably.
Yeah,
Like I see
but
that.
at the rate of inflation, not like is $1.3 million gonna is it gonna sustain you for your 5 years into your retirement, 10 years? Is it less than that? Inflation keeps going up, so the dollar keeps losing its value, right?
Yeah, and again, like we're coming out with less families than ever fucking before. So like people our age, it's a minority who have a good family, kids on the way, or kids already that they're even gonna be around for when you retire. Like
Yeah.
pretty miserable existence, man. If you really think about your later years and you're not thinking about this shit now, it's like I was just like, I don't know, man. That seems pretty fucking impossible for me.
Yeah.
I would have to really like, I don't know, dude. Even in my field, like I would have had to jump to like executive director levels, and even then, it's an incredibly stressful life. Uh,
Very.
in organizations or businesses, like every fucking waking up second of your fucking hour is just only in your goddamn business, and that's to reach the first numbers of survival. Maybe start, but then again, then you're just in like the 10, 5, maybe 2 or 1% club in
And
America.
you know what it is, Ryan, too, and you can look it up on TikTok or social media, but they use the term like golden handcuffs, where it's like the golden handcuffs, where it's like you have the top paying, clerical or office position with all the health benefits, the 401ks, the bonuses, and all that stuff. But there's a cost that comes to that, the cost of your time, the cost of your energy, the cost of the stressors that you deal with that with those kinds of jobs. Not to disregard anybody that has those jobs, but I mean, people have choices. At the end of the day, people have a choice on how they want to go about and live their lives. And I think a lot of us, back home, you know, um, myself included, right? Or very few of us, like Ryan, myself, and very few is. I think what's important is to take a step back and to really, really analyze and really think: where do you want to see your life? Do you really want to see your life chasing the American dream when every year, every month that goes by, there's so many obstacles that are pretty much hindering you from actually obtaining it compared to like 20, 30, 40 years ago, right? And I'm talking about for those who are like 35 and under, right? Even 40 and under, right? Like a lot of us, younger guys, younger men and women is, like it's, what is it? Another thing too, I guess, I don't know, kind of switching topics. I'm just thinking about it just right now, and I thought of it earlier. Is right now it's a Friday, right? I made the time to sit down with Ryan on this live. If I was the typical, and I'm just gonna say it, if I was the typical person in my circle to be like, you know what? It's Friday. The weekend. This weekend they got Coachella going. I'm gonna go to Coachella, right? Coachella, and I've told Ryan this. I'm about an hour and a half away from Coachella. Coachella is the actual city, right? It's close to Indio and Palm Springs. It's the world's biggest music festival. And I've told this to Ryan is it used to be a music festival that was underground for up and coming artists. And it was not even it was a fraction or a small percentage of what it is today to actually get a ticket to go see and actually experience music. Right now, the Coachella Festival, it's easily general admission is like $600, and that's just like the bare minimum to go experience. Um, and you're not even really experiencing music; you're just going for the influencers, for Instagram, for the trendiness and all that. Compared to when my dad and I went out to the concert in out in Paraguay to see Marco Antonio Solis for like $20, and that was one of the best nights ever. Um, I guess what I'm trying to say is I could be the typical person, you know, just doom spending and just mindlessly just, you know, going here and going there and not sacrificing a bit for the betterment of my future. So
Yeah, yeah, man, and I know that you're 27, um, and sometimes it takes a life event or something like that for us to really like change for the better. But like I like fucking admitted to you guys 10,000 times over. Like for me, it was a breakup, and I was like, damn, I don't have to consider this person in my future anymore. So now I get to do everything that I wanted to do, but much earlier and on my timeline. And I don't have to think about possibly making it work and going to a vacation to fucking Cabo or whatever the fuck
Yeah.
to impress this girl that I'm with. Do dumb shit vacations like that, or go out to California. No offense, but
No, no, not none taken. Trust me, none taken, bro.
and I'm like, oh, but we got to visit my sister in San Diego. It's like, Jesus Christ, that's the most expensive city. That's like saying let's go to Manhattan.
Yeah, no, damn near close.
Like
Yeah.
even to visit, like I'm just like, for what? Like the
Well, if
cool.
I if I if if I could share, Ryan, and I told you this, right? I didn't I haven't shared it on the live, but I was out in San Diego last week for my training. I told Ryan about this. I got my door was banged by a homeless lady in the hotel I was staying, and I was staying um right near where I was at for the training. This was the cheapest, most affordable hotel I could find. It was maybe like $500 for 5 days, 4 nights. Because every other hotel after that was 700, 800, $1,000 for just 5 days. But I got my door banged by a homeless lady, some crazy old lady, in America's finest city,
Yeah,
as they call it, in San Diego.
yeah. Well, also, though, when you were sending me pictures, there's the hotel, there was the parking lot, and then there was the
Yeah,
fence around the parking lot. And the other side of the fucking fence was homeless heaven. It was just like
yeah,
tent, fucking tweakers on the street, uh,
yeah.
doing God knows what. Like I
With
was,
their shopping carts full of their clothes and God knows what else.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And then a lot of the homeless too in like LA, for a lot of them are fucking armed.
yeah,
So imagine a fentanyl fucking fiend armed with God knows what else. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, it's wild, dude. And like in Madison, we have some homeless, and every year it gets a little bit worse. Um, that's actually where I certainly align when it comes to being more strict on like where they're allowed to be, and like I hate it when I see them fucking panhandling and shit.
yeah,
Um, and even if there's panhandlers, like there's a nice way to do it, and then there's the fucking like in your fucking face shit that I hate.
yeah,
Um, or like the hey bro, I need my car broke down. I'm like, you're a goddamn liar, dude.
yeah,
Just lying, dude. It's like, can I just walk to the and like I used to live on the campus, right? So there'd be like in the downtown Madison, and there were I remember I couldn't even walk to the fucking library 2 blocks away without like, hey bro, yeah. And then like, you know what I mean? And then they fucking
yeah,
harass girls and shit too. I'm like, bro, get them the fuck out of here. What the fuck are we doing?
yeah.
Like, yeah, but
I felt like that when the lady banged on my door. I mean,
yeah,
I didn't shout at her, but I raised my voice. I'm like, get out of here. Get I was like, get out of my stop banging on my door because she was banging my door and then
yeah.
tapping the window. And the hotel didn't. I mean, they didn't really do much. I mean, they said, "Oh, we'll get it situated." Fortunately, she walked away. So
That's actually interesting too. You bring it up, like security guards here in Latin America and Paraguay have so much more authority and autonomy to do whatever, but there it's just like, oh, hands off everything. Like, you can't actually do anything because we're gonna get all fucking sued and shit. I'm
civil
like, get them
lawsuits.
fucking tweakers the fuck out of your goddamn vicinity.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like that.
simple as that. Simple
It's
as
that
that.
fucking easy. Oh no, but in America we can't do that because there's this law and this law. I'm like, Christ in heaven, you guys. Jesus Christ. Just get them the fuck. Like, and for me too, I know I'm pretty harsh on this shit. If they refuse to go to these like rehab places, try to get a job, and even in America, there's like even government housing for these people, but they literally refuse to literally live in free fucking housing for them. Why? Because they have to be clean and they don't want to be clean
And they have to be employed. They have to work.
and employed. Yes. So they literally refuse. They're in Colorado. I was watching the documentary. I think it was Peter. No, it was somebody else. There's homeless, a huge fucking population of homeless right in front of them, a major rehab center. And that rehab center literally walk across the street, get clean. They'll facilities, everything. You get clean for a while, they'll hook you up with a job in an apartment. And these motherfuckers right across the street refuse.
Yeah.
I'm over here like, dude,
Typical.
what? Like, why do we allow this? Like, at that point, y'all just need to go to jail. You refuse to go to fucking rehab and shit. Like, bro, just go. And look, I know I've become more harsh on this over the years, but that's because the problem has only got worse over the years.
Yeah.
You can't incentivize fuckery, and yeah, that's the conservative coming out of me, I guess. But seriously though, like that, but
I
no,
agree too.
fuck that.
I'm with you on that.
It doesn't matter. That's just common sense. It's common sense, And then what really pisses me off is that there are people in Paraguay who would actually benefit from some of that stuff. Um, you know what I mean? And like, okay, fine. You guys don't want that fucking rehab center? Fucking bring that money here, and we'll fucking take it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Very true.
Or wherever. Like it's just like it's so much privilege, and that's another form I personally think of entitlement as well. Like, dude, you have
I
all
agree.
resources. You have government throwing money at you just to like, hey, get your life together, motherfucker. And you're like, no, I don't want it. I want to stay on the street and do drugs. I'm like, Jesus Christ, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to
Um,
read? You want to read some comments, Brian?
yeah. Oh
We don't
yeah.
want to. We don't want to leave your. We don't want to leave the audience hanging.
Okay. Yeah. My bad.
Oh,
So Yokazi, you're supposed to do those things with your wife and children. I think you're referring to like traveling, right? Yeah, I
yeah.
totally agree with you. Yeah, when you're boyfriend and girlfriend, you should do honestly a really limited stuff like that because it's a bad investment. You guys should be focused on like having the conversations about, well, if you're good together,
Yeah.
like
Future plans.
love, future plans, all that stuff. So I totally agree. And then when you're settled and and it's serious and you're good together, fuck yeah, go and travel with your wife and children. Absolutely, for sure.
Not to say that you should 100% exclude having fun or
Yeah.
like doing small trips in here and there. I mean, I think that's part of it.
Hmm.
But like what Ryan's trying to say is like going on these lavish trips or
Right.
like going to Disneyland every month or like the more important thing is to invest if you have a partner to like what the future plans look like. What kind of home would you want? What kind of life do you see with that person? So
Yeah, and like my example too is there's like two top restaurants in town, or one in particular that was like a
yeah.
our equivalent to a rooftop. It wasn't a true rooftop, but it was on the top level, right? And my ex, she always wanted to fucking go there. I'm like, why aren't you cool with the burger joint down the street? We're paying $40 for fucking this much fucking nothing.
Food. It's just
Like, well, what do we call it in America? Those pizza not for sure. What the fuck do we call those? Those like fancy little pizza things. You know what I'm talking about?
calzones.
No, but fucker, I don't.
Pizza margarita.
No, they're like whatever. It doesn't matter. But
Bruchet, like bruchet or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Well, I see vulcanized parts.
yeah.
It said something right there.
Disagree on the car rental if visiting for a week or two. It's the proper way to travel. See whatever you want to see. The road, all good for all the driving I did all over. Uber works
Uber
first.
words.
I know what you're saying, vulcanized
Yeah.
parts. And I agree. I'm just saying that if you're on a budget, just it's not the best thing to do.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I mean, if that's not an issue for you, for sure, go for it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So Yukazi, everyone should desire to have a wealthy life. You just have to set ways to get your money up. Agreed. Agreed.
Very much.
And you have to do different things as well, right? That's why, like, some people think I'm a clown for doing YouTube, but I don't give a fuck what people think because
Damn
it's a
right.
investment today that'll pay off tomorrow.
Yeah.
Um, and like I said, like you can branch off and do other stuff off of YouTube as well. So that's one
Yeah.
of the things I tell people. Some people look at me like I'm crazy, but I do think that more people should consider it for sure. And it's the same idea as investing money, which obviously, yeah, I agree with that concept as well,
Yeah.
right? even if it's like not crypto or stocks, but maybe it's a condo that you Airbnb out. That's another thing,
Yeah.
right? So I absolutely understand the concept. All I'm saying on top of that is that if you don't have all the money, then there's something that you do have. It's a phone in your hand, and you can pick it up and start doing YouTube. So that's what I'm. I know that people are like, money, 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 money. Invest more money, and you'll make this money, 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 and crypto, crypto, crypto. And I totally agree. I agree with the concept for sure, absolutely. I'm just talking about this people who are struggling, who may not have all that money initially to invest, but what they do have is some time and a phone and the ability to speak. And when you're dead,
And the ability to connect with people too.
yeah, exactly, man. Like, I mean, that's been wonderful, honestly. The YouTube thing, like connecting with all you guys, like great friends from it. I feel like on lonely days, I can literally just hop on a fucking live and shit, and then talk to like 100 of you guys will come in and out or
Yeah.
something like that. Even tonight, like I wasn't gonna step out, right? I just want to fucking get my shit together and clean my fucking place up and stuff. And tomorrow we might whatever. But even just like doing this, right, is better than like you were saying than
Better than going out to Coachella, spending God knows what amount of money and surrounded by degeneracy.
yeah. Well, it's crazy. Like, what's a beer over there? Like $25 or some shit like that at a Coachella.
I don't even want to know. I've even heard. I've even heard the cheapest items that they have food wise. They'll sell like 3 al pastor tacos for like $25.
Oh my god, bro.
That's ridiculous, man.
That's
I like somebody would have to threaten me by force or force me to do that. I would never do that.
yeah, yeah.
But
No, man. Oh my god, bro.
crazy.
Literally though, those three tacos is a ticket to one of our best concerts throughout the entire year, and about 5 beers on top of that. Maybe like four, and
Yeah,
that's the equivalent of three tacos at Coachella.
and a
And
much more authentic experience, right? Right, Ryan. Much more
yeah,
authentic.
yeah, and man, and like, believe me, dude, I know that a lot of that stuff can be really fun, really desirable, all that stuff. But it's like every time you do something like that, right? Um, and so it'd be different, right? If you're like a YouTuber, it's like, okay, what are the foods at Coachella? And then you're just telling people all about it, right? Like you're going there, and then that's like a YouTube video that you bring something to the world that other people aren't doing, who are just like drugged out or drunk as fuck and just spending $500 on a Coachella ticket. And yeah, yeah. Okay, so Yokazi, if you're a millionaire, you wouldn't even care about a $25 beer. Yeah, you wouldn't care about a lot of stuff. Honestly. Uh,
Pretty true.
yeah. Nah,
Pretty
dude.
true.
If I was a true millionaire, man, I mean, I would take this channel like probably worldwide by this point. But I will actually do more travel uh, in South America first, but then eventually maybe even Europe, because company I'm working for now is based in the UK. So maybe Europe. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
The possibilities are there. You just never know.
Yeah,
Never know.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, so Yokazi, oh yeah, man, I would love to be a millionaire. All of us would, for sure, man, for sure. That is a serious goal, though. That's a serious goal that I
Yeah.
think that everyone should strive to be a millionaire. I think that there's a lot of different routes you can take to get there. Most of us guys won't reach that, and like even statistically, most of us guys won't reach that until we're like 40s, 50s, even. That's when you start generating the most amount of money. That's not my opinion. That's just how it works, right? It'd be wonderful to be a 33-year-old millionaire, but haven't done that yet. But then again, this is where I go back to other things I was talking about. Um, to like YouTube. You do it today, 10 years from now, a video that has 100 views might have 10,000 views. A video that has
Yeah.
10,000 views might have 100,000 views. 100,000, a million. So, it's
It,
it's important to
it's
start it.
small steps. It's small amounts of sand that you put inside of a bag rather than just dump all the sand, and it's consistent. It's constant growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think past generations, it was easier to do like the 9 to 5. Okay, we got a good amount of money now. We're only spending 30% on housing or apartments, and then the rest of 20%. And I have 50% of the rest of the money for investments and having fun and traveling. Um, so like I think it was much easier to get there, and that's what the quiet millionaires they talk about it. They just slowly got there, because they did their power. The dollar was more, yeah, and they were also very how do you say it, disciplined, right, when it came to that stuff. But let's also pretend like the dollar wasn't more powerful in the 80s than it is now. You know what I mean? So it was a hell of a thing to make $25 an hour in the 80s. Now it's just
Oh
survival.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, people should just recognize that. But I absolutely agree with you. I think that literally every person should strive to be a millionaire. I don't say that like joking around. I really, truly believe
Yeah.
that. And I think that you'd have to think a little bit more out of the box if you don't have all the investment money to put away, or to invest in this and this and this and this and this off the
Or
bat.
the generational wealth too, to some
Yeah,
extent. Yeah.
yeah. Um, Yeah, so Yokazi, you can become a millionaire working at McDonald's. You need a strong investment strategy plus an excellent opportunity that you're ready for. A couple of IPOs will change your life forever, for sure. Yeah, I know we're getting heavy.
IPOs. I actually don't know what that stands for. IPOs.
Uh, wait, no, wait, hold on. Do I even know what the fuck that is? So
I
Yokazi,
don't even.
can
I'm
you
not.
know our
I'm not.
IPO?
I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I know. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
IPOs.
The McDonald's thing, man. The only pushback I'll give you is like most of those people don't have a dollar to invest. Most people working at
Yeah.
McDonald's are surviving. That's the only little pushback I'll get. I understand what you're saying though.
Yeah.
You're more of like the discipline. Put this percentage away. Don't ever look at it. I
Yeah.
totally understand that. Um, and a lot of us did that, and still do that to certain degrees. But it's harder these days. It's like when Google first presented their stuff. Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But getting, yeah, I guess taking it back, like full, uh,
Initial
full.
public offerings, as they call it.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna have
It,
to look that up because I actually don't know what. I assume it's probably like a percentage of the company that you own or something like that.
and it has to be in its infancy, I imagine too.
Yeah.
The initial, yeah, like
Makes sense.
yeah, but you also need to know like the when to pull out. Like I remember my dad was telling me like those who invested in Walgreens at the beginning like did fucking amazing, but now Walgreens, like a lot of other places, are like falling the fuck off and closing
Yeah.
down. But at a point in the beginning, well, Walgreens was like that investment. uh, yeah, roughly every 10 years, an awesome company
IPOs.
IPOs. Okay, that's kind of like the cycle. Okay, interesting. Yeah. But yeah, man, I don't know. I guess like taking it back to the more human level, like, dude, we're a real tiny minority, and like of people who are moving around, and
And with intention.
yeah, with intention. Yeah, not just having fun all the time,
Yeah.
but yeah. But yeah, man. I think it's really too bad that a lot of people are just accepting the reality that they're in, and then they're just slowly gonna hurt.
Yeah,
When it comes time for retirement, your first mortgage, uh, anything.
your
Realizing
first
what,
kid,
yeah,
first
realizing
kid.
what it takes to,
It
to
it
raise a
it
child.
it's a slow death by a thousand cuts, literally. What we're seeing that's playing out, and it's just a matter of how are you gonna save yourself from that, like literally, setting aside the emotional aspect and the personal aspect. How are you gonna, like, realistically, how are you gonna prosper, into your retirement or into your later years, um, in the West? That's kind of what I'm seeing from from here on out to the next, 5, 10, 15 years,
Hmm.
so
Yeah, and the older guys who hit me up, like they're right on it. They're either really close to retirement. Just talked to a gentleman who wants to sell his house and come to Paraguay and live a great life down here. Right, so they're on it, and it's relatively easy still to get
still,
residency and all that. But the thing is, for our generation, once our generation 20 years from now starts reaching some of these ages, this stuff is going to be a lot harder. And I already know it because it seems like almost every year, if not every 2 years, something pretty major changes in the residency game.
yeah,
Um, and for the worst, to make it more difficult, well, more costly, more exclusive. Now you have to wait a little bit longer for this kind of shit, that kind of shit. And the government knows what it's doing. It's making
they're
this.
totally aware of it,
They,
totally.
they know that they're uh, they want to make some money.
Yeah,
Um, and so I literally can see it. I can foresee it that there's going to be
same
a
here.
lot. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to hit me up 10 to 20 years from now, and or maybe even later, like right at retirement.
Or maybe sooner, Ryan. I mean, the last 5 years have been a turmoil, and I'm not just talking politics and economy. I mean, in a lot of different sectors and areas, like the last 5 years. So imagine what the next 3 years is going to look like. What the next 6 years, like, at the rate that everything's happening with, with governments, with countries, with immigration, with monetary systems, with visas, with jobs, AI.
Yeah,
It's scary. It's scary it's scary when you take a moment to think about it. If you don't think about it, you're simply not. You're just ignoring the harsh truth and the reality of the direction we're going in. Because it's not. This is not going to be forever. Where people are going to have access to credit. People are going to have access to these residencies. People are going to be able to afford to do a residency or remote work or whatever it is. They think it's just going to be, you know the they literally think it's just going to be until the wheels never fall off. The wheels will fall off at some point.
yeah,
So
yeah. No, I totally agree, and that's what Soykazi said. You can't depend on the government for your own personal success, for sure. Yeah,
yeah,
here, not there, not anywhere. Um, yeah, and it's too, and I don't know. I think you're sort of right. I really do think that a lot of people in our generation, not even in the next 5 years, I think some might wake up. Um, but they're far too comfortable. They're far too comfortable with their lifestyle. They're far
yeah,
too comfortable with this. Even they're far too comfortable thinking that a traditional 9 to 5 is going to save them for the rest of their lives.
yeah.
They're far too comfortable in that mindset. Uh,
They put too much. Another thing that I didn't even mention, but I think it's very overlooked, is they put too much faith. They put too much faith in the system, and they let their emotions get in the way of who's in office or what politics take place. It's not even, put that aside. Just look at the numbers.
Yeah.
Take a moment, look at the numbers, the economics, look at your bank statements, look at prices at the grocery stores, look at house prices. Like look at all these things and compare that to 30, 40, 50 years ago. If you have parents, grandparents, it's not the same.
Hmm.
It's not the same. And people who say otherwise, they're not, they may not accept it, or they just kind of well, but that's always every, that happens every generation. Yeah. Well, look at the cost of eggs. I saw something where I think in New York or Manhattan, I think somewhere in New York, in the city of New York, a dozen eggs was costing around $13.
It's almost dollar per egg.
That's like a little. It's literally like over $1 per egg.
Jesus Christ, dude. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, over a dollar. Dude, you said 13 to 12. Wow.
yeah.
Oh my Christ, man. And then you got taxes. No, actually, no, they don't tax food. But still, like that's. I mean, that's so unacceptable. But people accept it.
But
Um,
people accept it. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like,
Well, and another thing too, before you proceed, Ryan, is
yeah,
one of the things that I think it's so common that I see, and I've heard it in person, right? Like in real life, in person, or you see it in social media. Is people will complain. They'll complain. They'll complain. They'll complain. They'll complain. They'll complain. But they're not gonna. They're not gonna look at other options or look at other opportunities or other ways um to what's the word, to basically not fall in that, um to save themselves from high inflation, from high cost of living, from restrictions from the government. Like you got to think outside the box. You got to consider other options. Be open to other people who are doing things different than you.
yeah,
And if it's working for them, take a note from their book, because you never know.
yeah. And in like my case, like you don't have to do exactly everything I'm doing, but you could take elements of it
Yeah.
and try it, or like whatever it is. I know for a fact that I've gotten some people to start YouTube channels. That's just one element that I would love to see them crush the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yourself, you got started too. It's just one example, right? Or like, okay, yeah, maybe you don't want to live in San Lorenzo, but at least you kind of have a little bit of more of an understanding about the prices here,
Yeah.
um, or was something like that. So I kind of forget, and I have to look back at my videos, like because I talk a lot about my life, and that doesn't always help people. Like it helps on a personal level, like relatability,
Yeah.
right? But I do actually have like decent info out there for like cost of living, that kind of stuff, houses and walkthroughs and that kind of stuff. But yeah, man, I mean, I keep it open ended for a reason. I don't go just into finance. I don't go just in my stories. I'm all over the place, sort of.
Yeah.
But that's kind of for a reason too, though. Because I have more of an audience that is not just in one specific mindset.
It's
Uh,
multifaceted.
yeah,
Multifaceted.
yeah, um, yeah, and it's that's just the way I approach it, and doing decent, I guess. And it only keep growing. I mean, it just keeps
Yeah.
growing and growing. It's kind of a, it's a it's really actually seriously though, it's really cool to like wake up and be like, oh, I got 5 new subscribers today or something like that, or even
Yeah.
just one or two or whatever. It's cool because these are not bots, these are people. YouTube will filter out the bots,
Yeah.
um, if they come in. So yeah, so it's when you like when you really start reaching people, it's a hell of a thing. And for smart people, I know we started talking about Vitali, like they'll take
Mm.
that serious and like that responsibility serious. Like yeah, I know I'm a clown and stuff sometimes, but I also take it serious that like I am kind of a voice for my country, you know. And then some people will just completely shatter that opportunity and then just like do dumb stuff, get run out of the countries, break all kinds of laws.
Make a fool out of themselves.
Yeah, yeah, insult people without reason, all kinds of stuff, man.
Yeah,
Um, so it's pretty wild, man. It really is. But I don't know. I guess the whole point is you got to want to save yourself. You got to want to. People are going to have to snap out of it, and I don't think that enough people understand that their futures, the way that they're going about their futures, is going to be impossible. Um,
very much.
so there are solutions, but you gotta accept the realities. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Kind of.
America can be sometimes a wonderland of dreams and you know false hopes at times. There's opportunity, but opportunity is getting harder to come by. Very much so. Very much so. Um, if I share a little bit, like my parents' generation and my grandparents, that was sort of the golden era of opportunity at the time. You go back in the 50s, 60s, even 70s. I would even say even the 80s and 90s. But the last 30 years, 20 years, like little by little, that those kind of opportunities have dwindled and the window's closing. It's closing. And I would say even now, the last 2, 3 years, it's closed a lot more. And it's just that people haven't really seen it that way. They haven't taken notice of that. I have, because I've woken up. I think one of the moments in my life that, and I kind of share it in my channel, some of the last videos that I posted and stuff, was when 2020 happened. That really opened my eyes, because I said, you know what, I never want to be in that position where I'm not limited to just one country, or just one economy, or one place for opportunities, right? For opportunity for a better life, better pace of life, or slower pace of life. Um, just in all facets, really. And it's not to say that people in America, they can't travel. They absolutely can. People that have money, or they have the time, or they make the time, they can. It's just if they really want it. At the end of the day, it's just if you want it.
Yeah, yeah, and with purpose. I said no to so many fucking random vacations. Um, and believe me, in your 20s, you kind of want to see what all these cities are around. But I was just like, I'm just always going to Paraguay.
Yeah,
um, and I knew that if I kept learning the culture, the language, understanding more about this and that, building better connection with my family, life later was going to be better, right? So that's not necessarily an investment in the traditional sense of finance, but I have deep connections with my family now. So I have like a real nice network that I can fall back on, and then they can lean on me too, like
yeah,
for things as well. Um, and honestly, for when you get older, and now I do actually have a nephew in the states, but that wasn't until very recently. He was born. But here, like, there's going to be a lot of the younger generation who is going to love me through my older years. You know what I
yeah,
mean? A lot of younger cousins, niece and nephew, and then eventually my own children and all that. So, like, it's going to be, and when you get older, you really, really want like people around you. Hell, it even hurts sometimes, even when you're younger years, right?
yeah,
Younger years, you can stomach it more, you can be more on your grind and whatever. But like when you're older, you want somebody around, right?
yeah,
And you want kids, right, to see you well, to be there in your last days, and also to like, to fucking pass something on to, have a legacy. Uh, I don't know, man. Even I remember even as a kid, I was like, dude, it'd be a big fear of mine to leave this earth without like doing something important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I never put that importance with. Yes, I always had the goal of also being a millionaire, but that wasn't as important as like being somebody.
Yeah.
uh, you know what I mean? And um, like fucking leaving something good behind. Uh, I don't know, man, because I also understand too that like being adopted, yeah, it wasn't easy growing up in the States, but I do understand the benefits. Literally, I'm living it out now, being bilingual, having access to the university I went to, all the schools I went to, all that stuff, and I also took that serious too. Like, look, like I've had other stuff that most of my countrymen have not had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had to create a lot of this stuff and learn the language over years and years and years and years as well. But you know, I try to leverage those things that I do have as well. You know, uh, so I don't know, man. We're getting deep, man, but I don't know. It's important stuff, though, right? I
It
mean,
is.
would you agree, or I don't know? You
No,
know?
I would agree too. It's I think it's more than just, I guess, finances. It's also finding purpose too, like what your life's gonna look like and stuff. Um, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I can tell you that if I would have continued with the wrong one, there's a very good chance I would have just been part of the system for the rest of my fucking life. Uh, Struggle financially, most likely, getting a far too expensive house that we can't afford. But that's because our parents did it and all that shit. And we're gonna try to do it, probably fuck up, probably get divorced, probably have a lot of fucking heartbreak and like a serious fucking midlife crisis.
Yeah,
Kids are all, who knows if they'll love you or the mom or whoever the fuck. And I was like, dude, I can literally see my fucking life playing out in all the wrong ways in the U.S.
yeah,
And statistically, that backs me up too. When I say that, it's like, with the divorce rates, and then things usually don't go fairly. Um, you're
I,
overpaying for everything. You're stressed out on a daily basis. You're not advancing. Like a lot of people think, like, okay, well, I mean, I'm in this position now. They got to promote me, or at some point, no, they don't. Or you could have something as simple as a management change, and then that manager that you were cool with for the last 2 3 years is completely gone, and then now you got to build up a relationship with the next fucking person.
yeah.
Um,
And then for those that are starting out, sometimes they gotta put family plans to the side to even be able to have a family.
yeah,
And if they end up having a family, having their offspring, their children, and if they're not, even if they are prepared, right? But say if they're not financially prepared, fully prepared, it's literally an uphill battle.
yeah,
It's not really a clean slate where you have everything set in place before you have your kid or
yeah,
any kids to begin with.
yeah, and even without getting into the whole like man woman ethical feminism, what's right and wrong and all this shit, childcare. It's like if you don't have the ability to have the lady stay at home, and hopefully it's the lady. Otherwise, that can cause really weird rifts and shit later. If
Yeah,
the lady's going to the office making the money, and then and then you're saying, "Oh,
stay at home dad.
yeah," those relationships normally always terminate.
Yeah,
So if you do have a more traditional household, that's the best, literally the best financial situation that you could have, because childcare is so much in the states, um, that it literally equals out to just not even fucking with it and just
yeah,
staying home. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's a hard game to play, right? In the states, and far too many people are going to play it for the rest of their lives, and they're going to realize at some point, damn man, they're going to find themselves in panic mode later in life. I
Very
guarantee,
much so.
guaranteed, uh, for sure.
And that goes for, people in your circle, Ryan, people in my circle, right?
Yeah,
Whether they follow me or not, or listen to me or not. Um, yeah, I mean, we're close to those times. We're literally getting closer and closer to those times.
yeah,
Um, you know, and it'll be too late before somebody wants to pursue that, the residency or a second passport or a retirement plan outside of the US or whatever Western country you're from. If you don't do it now, it's you're not. And I get it. Maybe some people that are older, they think, oh well, I'm fine. I'm gonna be in retirement. This and that. You never know. You never know because yeah, you might have that state job, you might have that government job, county job, private sector job, right? Making that great money. But things do happen like blindsided, People lose people lose their life, they lose their lifelong stability, whether that's their house, their 401k, their job, their paycheck, benefits, like, just because it happened to somebody else and it hasn't happened to you, doesn't mean that um you're not protected, you know? So,
yeah,
but very much so, yeah.
yeah. And it's a lot of us are thinking that we can copy the game plan of our parents and grandparents, but you can't. You can't. You know, um, and a lot of people are going to learn the hard way, and it's just too bad.
Yeah.
Uh, and honestly, like, why? I just don't understand why you wouldn't at least do residency and give yourself peace of mind for later.
Yeah.
You don't have to figure everything out. You don't even have to move here, but like,
Yeah.
you that one thing, set yourself up for retirement. Um,
It's giving me peace of mind now that I'm back here. Ever since I did my trip, it's giving me it's almost, in a way, it's almost kind of, it's cleared my mind a bit. The trip really did, aside from the residency and, having fun and stuff, it really just opened my peripherals. It opened my mind to, okay, here's a here's a place that has opportunity, that has here's a place that can give you a second chance at life, in a sense. Um, Definitely more than just the residency. It's more of that emotional and internal change that I had. I mean, I've told Ryan, now that I've came back, I feel like I feel more different now with my perspective on things, and looking forward to the second time that I come back. But it's giving me that peace of mind, the residency, because there's a lot of changes that are going to happen within this year or next year for sure, with the residency, in particular to Paraguay. So
yeah, yeah, man. I mean, me too. I remember when I got my residency card, I realized what it meant. Uh, beyond even just like living here, I was just like, I know what this means now. Um, so yeah, and we'll probably just go for another 5 minutes or so. We can wrap this up.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Far too many of my friends are suffering, whether they want to admit it or not.
yeah,
Uh, far too many are looking at or just doing the same stuff as always:
yeah,
bars, casinos, concerts, going to Chicago, spending a bunch of money for no reason to impress somebody that's not even going to be there later.
yeah,
Dealing with the wrong people, very toxic. Just keeping it honest. Very toxic American women, high expectations. They're not always very pleasant. I don't want to piss people off with that one, but
Yeah.
It's true, and even here it's not perfect, but it's certainly better. And I don't know, man. It's a shame that some people are not getting it, and they have people like you or me
Yeah.
they could sit down with in a serious manner and be like, hey, man, I'm feeling it. I know what you're saying now. I know what you're saying a year ago, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I'm
Yeah.
feeling. Just lost my job. My mortgage is insane. I'm paying $2,000 in healthcare, and I don't even fucking use it. For me
I
and my
got
family,
divorced or something.
my property taxes went up fucking $300 overnight. Um, this, that, all the fucking 10 million things.
Yeah.
And so yeah, man. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to. At least I think we know what the solutions are. I wish that more people would get on them,
Yeah.
and not wait
Same
till
here.
yeah, yeah. As much as it's cool and stuff, and like whatever to like live abroad. What's more important is just like setting up your future, whether you live abroad or not. That's
Mhm.
you know, it's cool. It's nice. You can benefit from a lot of things, but you know, get that stability, get that residency card, and then you're good for a lot of things. So
Yeah. 100%.
anyway, I don't know if you have any last things to say. Otherwise, you could probably start wrapping it up. But
Um, yeah, I mean, pretty much the same that Ryan has said. I mean, I guess on my end too, it's, people, you know, and maybe I'm just saying in general, no, people are still gonna live in, they're still gonna live in their high cost of living cities. They're gonna go to Coachella, Stagecoach, Disneyland, San Diego, LA, San Francisco, all the West Coast, maybe, Mexico here and there. But if you don't set yourself up for a safety net, and a safety net is not just crypto, it's not just stocks, it's not just retirement, because those three things are intertwined under one system, right? But if you have a residency, if you have um, a refuge, a place like a second home, or potentially plan A, like Ryan has said, like to make it your primary home. And right now that it is accessible to the world and to many nationalities, including Americans and Westerners, why not? You know, you know, those $5,000 that you would invest in for residency and stuff, hotel, flight, all that stuff. That's definitely a lot worth more than putting $20,000 down on I don't know, on a car, on I don't know what people spend nowadays, because people sometimes they tend to not really think much, and they'll spend on what their heart desires are. But if you think long term, if you kind of set yourself up in a position where you're gonna have that retirement, you're gonna have that future, you're gonna be able to do arbitrage, you're gonna have higher quality of living, slower pace of life, less stress, less financial stress, higher quality of food, um, deeper connections, potential relationships, opportunities. Um, you know, Me and Ryan, Simon, and very few of us, we see that. A lot of people don't at the moment. And it may be too late before by then, that door will close. So that's my last message, really, to anybody that's watching. So
yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I'll just quickly read some comments and then I'll close this out. But there's a lot of baddies. Dude, there's baddies. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into specifics, but yes, there's
yeah,
absolutely.
maybe for another time, but
Yeah, we'll talk about that another time. We
yeah,
were leaving in my residency, waiting for my FBI background check. Yes, absolutely, good stuff.
yeah.
Hope parking infractions don't count. No, they don't.
And
FBI.
don't forget apostille. Get that
Yeah, yeah.
apostille. Yeah,
Make sure, yeah, it's apostilled.
get your documents in order, all that good stuff.
Yeah, and well, actually, on a serious note, a lot of people come unprepared. A lot of people don't didn't do some of those things. And honestly, if I'm going to be completely honest, because a lot of YouTubers did not explain this shit well when I was doing this shit over around 2 years ago,
Yeah.
they literally skipped some of the most important fucking details, right? And I did a lot of this research online and stuff, but you know, yeah, just make sure your documents are in order because a lot of people are unprepared. Not even
Yeah.
Americans, actually other people, which Aaron has seen too.
Yeah.
Um,
When I did mine the day that I got my residency, there was my lawyer had said that even European certain nationalities they have to come in several times to the migration office because they forget something, misspelled something, forget one piece of paper or copy of this, copy of that. Yeah, that would be the worst nightmare for anybody. For me, truly. So but fortunately, that wasn't the case.
yeah,
So
yeah. And the first people I was talking about before I eventually knew how I was going to work with here. They told me about the FBI thing and then my birth certificate, but I completely almost missed the apostille. So I
mm,
completely rushed that stuff the last couple of weeks before I came 2 years ago to do that stuff. Um, and so anyway, so yeah, I mean, I got it in order and everything went just fine.
yeah,
But yeah, no, make sure you're good, man. Um, and yeah, hopefully everything goes well for people. And I don't know. Yeah, I guess lastly, man, just like for those coming to Paraguay, uh, don't be a Vitali.
do not.
but
I would
uh,
hate to see that.
but yeah, but I'll just like reiterate one last time that like this is a very small country. You don't want to destroy your reputation in any way. You will be known for it if you do. um, and just have a good time, man. Be a good person, and then believe me, even just being a good person, being an honest person, can get you far in life. It's who said it? It's the most undervalued currency that you have as a human being. Um,
Honesty.
being a decent person. Like I'm more likely to want to mess with you. Yeah, goddamn, but like meet you, do business with you, maybe help you out, be a contact for you guys in the cases of an emergency, some shit like that. Maybe hang out. Like it's more likely that if you're more personable, if you're a good person, and I can tell that off the bat, we can link up. I could be somebody on the ground here that all that stuff. And yeah, man, the last people who were on sticking in this, listening to us, just good luck, man. I know a lot of people got a lot of shit figured out, but a lot of people don't, and a lot of people are at
Mhm.
different levels in this stuff, right? When it comes to moving abroad or retiring or whatever, we're all at different levels. I respect everybody's grind. I don't judge you for
Yeah,
nothing like some other people. If you're not absolutely squeaky clean, the most perfect person on planet Earth, um, I won't uh, and I don't know, man. I'll vibe with you and shit. But yeah, that's about it from me. So I think we'll close out. Thanks, Aaron, for hopping on. I didn't know exactly what we were talking about, but I know that we touched really important on the last 10 minutes of our last video. That I was like, let's just make it a whole conversation.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We definitely left off from that. So I'm glad kind of we kind of got deeper into that subject, the urgency for residency, their futures, all that stuff. 100%,
yeah,
100%.
yeah. Okay. All right, you guys, we're gonna hop off. I might call Aaron back privately here in a second, or if you want, if you're go heading back or something. Yeah.
No, we'll catch up right now
Okay,
afterwards.
for sure. But yeah, you guys. So again, man, a lot of people actually find me when I do these lives. I like, you guys can always comment in and stuff. I like doing this. I like the transparency with all this stuff. you know, I'm certainly not perfect, and I'm not a millionaire, and I made mistakes, and
Not a guru.
and I'm
Not a dream seller.
not a dream seller. I'm not always. I don't have the most spectacular relationships when it comes to women. I usually fuck it up, or it fucks up, and
Yeah.
you guys see all that shit though. You know what I mean? So yeah, and you know, I just wish you all the best. We're all at different levels, like I was saying. Some of us are struggling harder economically than others. I have a real heart for that. You know what I mean? Because man, I've been there, done that. You know, experienced that. Hell, I even had doubts not even that long ago about should I go back to the U.S., stack up money, and then come back. I don't know. Some of those doubts went away. I guess if you guys didn't know that I am here for the at least the entire year, most likely. I probably won't step back in the U.S. Not even this year, maybe next year. I do want to see my parents though, and I really like the other day I was really deeply missing my family. So we'll probably meet up in like Panama, maybe Mexico or something.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't really need to visit the U.S. Like I would love to see my family. I just don't need to be in the U.S. to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I think probably all the changes in my life recently, just like you know, new line of work. I'm obviously still doing YouTube, just like this.
Yeah.
But you know, there was a lot of like changes, like pretty rapidly. You know, hopping in a relationship, hopping out of that shit, it really like took a toll on me.
Yeah.
And like you know, keeping everything fucking going too. You know, this is a single guy. I have a lot of shit to take care of on a daily basis. I have to keep this channel going and my job now and all this shit. And I ain't complaining, but I'm just saying there's like a lot of shit throughout the daily stuff. And
Yeah.
especially in a Paraguay where you can't like just fucking well, I guess there's more like online stuff. Anyways, whatever. Not important, but anyways, that's where I've been at in my life recently and stuff. So again, why do I tell you guys that? Because it's real life. uh, you know, if you want to, well, actually, the last thing I'll say is that like a lot of people who don't vibe with some of these other guys really vibe with me. uh, it's because no,
True.
seriously, they know that they can tell me whatever, or we can touch any topic under the sun, and I'm not going to
Yeah.
shy from it. But a lot of those guys are unreachable, or they charge way too much, even just for a little bit of their time,
Yeah.
um, almost to insulting levels. If I'm going to be completely honest.
Yeah.
I didn't actually know that until relatively recently when you told me, and then some other people have told me too. I like to consider, at least when I do consultations, that it's a fair amount. Um, you know, and so, anyways, another long goodbye. I'll stop for real this time. That's just a little bit of update to my life in the last couple minutes here, but yeah. So I don't know. I'll be releasing a couple more videos, and then I'll get back in the game of releasing like stuff where I've actually been as well. Okay,
Yeah.
Aaron, I'll call you in a second here off camera, and see you guys later, everyone. Take care of yourselves, and until the next one. All
Till the
right.
next one, guys. Peace.